Have you ever wondered how one terrible mistake can destroy every life it touches? Because that's exactly what's happening in Weatherfield right now. A murder. A love story. A heartbreaking confession. And one devastating decision that could send the wrong person to prison forever. Just when Coronation Street fans believed the Theo Silverton mystery had reached its emotional peak, everything changes. Because Sarah Platt is finally reaching breaking point. And her confession could destroy not only her future, but the lives of Kit Green, Gary Windass, and everyone caught in the middle. Welcome back to Coronation Street Update. If you love dramatic Corrie breakdowns, shocking theories, and emotional spoilers, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because this storyline is only getting darker. Let's dive in. For months, Sarah Platt has been carrying the heaviest secret imaginable. Every smile she forces, every conversation with Kit, every moment she tries to pretend life is normal, is built on a lie. Because viewers now know something almost nobody else does. Theo Silverton wasn't murdered by Gary. He wasn't killed by one of the many suspects the police have been chasing. He died because of Sarah. An accident. A tragic split-second decision. But accidents don't erase guilt. If anything, sometimes they make it even worse. Sarah isn't sleeping. She isn't thinking clearly. She isn't living anymore. She's surviving. Every single day she wakes up beside Kit Green, she has to look into the eyes of the detective investigating the very crime she's hiding. Imagine that emotional torture. The man she loves, the man planning a future with her, is unknowingly hunting the woman sleeping beside him. That's not just dramatic. It's psychologically devastating. Sarah isn't simply afraid of prison. She's terrified of destroying the one relationship that has given her hope. But that may not be the whole truth. Because there's another person quietly destroying himself alongside Sarah. Gary Windass. Gary has spent years trying to leave his violent past behind. He's fought to become a better husband, a better father, a better man. But history has a cruel habit of repeating itself. Instead of encouraging Sarah to confess immediately, Gary chose protection. He chose silence. He chose to help cover up the truth. At the time it probably felt like the only option. Protect Sarah. Protect her family. Protect everyone. But every lie creates another lie. Every secret demands another sacrifice. Now Gary's entire world is collapsing around him. His marriage to Maria is hanging by a thread. The police are becoming increasingly suspicious. And worst of all, Kit already believes Gary could be Theo's killer. And that's when things take a darker turn. Because Sarah herself is beginning to question Gary's decision. For the first time, she isn't just grateful. She's frustrated. Deep down she's asking the question every viewer has been wondering. Why didn't Gary tell her to go to the police? Why carry this impossible burden? Why risk destroying every life involved? Perhaps Gary believed he was protecting Sarah. But maybe he was only delaying the inevitable. Then comes the moment that changes everything. Kit Green prepares the perfect romantic surprise. A quiet lunch. A future filled with hope. A future Sarah desperately wishes she could believe in. Then, he gets down on one knee. Imagine how that moment should have felt. Joy. Excitement. Love. They said. Sarah feels something completely different. Shame. Fear. Panic. In her own words, he feels like the worst person in the world. Because how can you accept a marriage proposal when you know your fiancé's entire life is built on a lie? Every second of that proposal becomes emotionally unbearable. While Kit sees the happiest day of his life, Sarah sees the moment she's about to lose everything. But what happens next is even more devastating. Sarah reaches breaking point. She can no longer carry the crushing weight of Theo's death. The guilt has become louder than the fear. Every passing day reminds her that an innocent future with Kit simply isn't possible unless the truth finally comes out. And so, she prepares to confess. Not because she wants to, because she has to. But confession doesn't guarantee forgiveness. It guarantees consequences. Let's talk about Kit. Because he's about to face one of the greatest moral dilemmas any Corrie detective has faced. On one side, the woman he loves. The woman he wanted to marry. On the other, his badge. His career. His oath as a police officer. Sarah admits everything. Kit has only two choices. Protect Sarah. Or arrest her. Either decision destroys his life. If he protects her, he's no longer a detective people can trust. If he arrests her, He loses the woman he loves forever. It's a decision with no happy ending. But perhaps the most shocking possibility hasn't even happened yet. Because according to Tina O'Brien, Kit may actually protect Sarah. And if that's true, someone else could become the sacrifice. Gary Windass. Just stop and think about how heartbreaking that would be. Gary has already destroyed his marriage trying to protect Sarah. He's already become the police's prime suspect. Now, he could be deliberately framed as Theo's killer simply because Kit cannot bear to lose Sarah. If that happens, this storyline becomes less about murder and more about betrayal. Would Kit really throw Gary under the bus? Considering the tension that's always existed between them, it suddenly doesn't seem impossible. Psychologically, Gary is becoming the tragic hero of this story. He's carrying guilt that isn't entirely his own. Watching the police close in. Watching Maria drift further away. Watching Sarah collapse under the pressure. And yet, he keeps saying nothing. Because perhaps he believes protecting Sarah is worth sacrificing himself. Or perhaps, he simply doesn't know how to escape the web of lies anymore. Then there's another terrifying possibility. What if Sarah really does end up in prison? Tina O'Brien herself fears Sarah would struggle behind bars. Unlike hardened criminals, Sarah is emotionally fragile. Compassionate. Exactly the kind of prisoner others could exploit. And there's another frightening detail. If inmates discover her partner is a detective, she could instantly become a target. Suddenly, prison isn't simply punishment. It's survival. Every day behind bars would become another emotional battle. And even if Sarah eventually walked free, would she ever be the same person again? My prediction: the confession won't end this storyline. It will only begin its darkest chapter. Gary's sacrifice will grow even bigger. Kit's career will hang by a thread. Maria will finally learn the devastating truth. Whether she ends up in prison or not, will carry Theo's death with her forever. Because sometimes the greatest punishment isn't a prison sentence. It's having to live with yourself. And perhaps that's why this storyline has connected so deeply with viewers. Nobody truly wins. Nobody escapes without scars. Every character believes they're protecting someone, yet every decision pushes them closer to tragedy. That's classic Coronation Street storytelling. Messy, emotional, human. Now it's over to you. Do you think Sarah should confess everything to Kit? Would Kit protect the woman he loves, or arrest her? Is Gary about to become the ultimate sacrifice? And if Sarah does go to prison, will she survive life behind bars? Leave your theories in the comments because this storyline is becoming one of Corrie's most emotionally explosive mysteries. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another Coronation Street update. Thanks for watching. And remember, in Weatherfield, the truth always finds its way into the light.